Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. It is Tuesday, May 12th, 2015, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here are tonight's top stories.
Tonight, Marco Rubio channels James Clapper and lies about the NSA's spying, while defense, intelligence, and homeland security officials are involved in constructing a Matrix-like simulation of you. Then, an interview with the executive producer of Amerigeddon.
And people like you. I am an American.
All that and more on tonight's INFOWARS Nightly News.
The perception has been created, including by political figures that serve in this chamber, that the United States government is listening to your phone calls or going through your bills as a matter of course. That is absolutely categorically false. The next time that any politician, senator, congressman, talking head, whatever it may be, stands up and says that the U.S. government is listening to your phone calls or going through your phone records, they're lying. It just is not true. Except for some very isolated instances, in the hundreds, of individuals for whom there is reasonable suspicion that they could have links to terrorism.
So that was Senator Marco Rubio, said to be the favorite of Republican voters in 2016, making an argument for extending the unconstitutional NSA surveillance program. He's coming right out and saying that there's no documented case of abuse with this program. Now, obviously ignoring at the very least the fact that we know agents have been passing around nude photos of American citizens, as well as using these programs to spy on their own significant others. But he's also conveniently ignoring the fact that this surveillance program has been set up from the very beginning without the consent of Congress or the American people. Now, the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit ruled just last week that the NSA surveillance program is rogue and is not authorized by Section 215 of the Patriot Act. The court ruling reads, "We hold that the text of 215 cannot bear the weight the government asks us to assign to it, and that it does not authorize the telephone metadata program." Now, despite the insistence of Senator Rubio, the NSA program has no discernible impact on preventing terrorist attacks. Now, quoting Edward Snowden from 2013, he said these programs were never about terrorism. They're about economic spying, social control, and diplomatic manipulation. They are about power. And obviously, you can just look at the programs and how they've been using the surveillance program instead of focusing on catching actual terrorists, like stopping the Tsarnaev brothers from bombing the Boston Marathon. They chose to spy on the nonviolent Occupy crowds or Alaskans for Peace. They were spying on a protester who was writing on the sidewalk with chalk. They were spying on a Mother's Day peaceful protest, as well as veganism, vegan potlucks, and things like that. And we know that they've been spying on the militia and veterans as well. So all of this was going on while the FBI was being given a second warning from Russia about Tsarnaev's ties to terrorism. Obviously he went on to then bomb the Boston Marathon, but they were focused on vegan potlucks and, of course, going after veterans and things like that. That's what they're using this surveillance program for. That's what this is about, controlling political dissidents. They'll allow us to exercise our First Amendment inside of our little free speech zones, but they're never going to allow us to either gather up enough momentum to actually overthrow the powers that be. And that's what this program is all about. That's what the Jade Helm, Mastering the Human Domain, is all about. Now, Rand Paul has come out saying that he is going to filibuster any attempt to reauthorize the sections of the Patriot Act that are permitting this dragnet surveillance. He says, "We will be filibustering. We will be trying to stop it. We are not going to let them run over us." And he's going to be joined by Senator Ron Wyden, who also said that he's going to filibuster any straight authorization of the bill. And there are only going to be 10 legislative days left for them to do anything about this. This bill is set to expire June 1st. So the question is, are they going to allow this to expire? Are they going to let the USA Freedom Act, which is just a watered-down version of the Patriot Act, are they going to let that take its place? The House is expected to vote on the USA Freedom Act tomorrow. It is expected to pass. Now, following the court's ruling last week, the Electronic Frontier Foundation pulled its support of the USA Freedom Act because they're now urging Congress to roll the draft back to an earlier version of it where it had more stronger and meaningful reforms. And they're really urging Congress to take into consideration the opinion of the Second Circuit Court there, limiting Section 215. So obviously, we're seeing a lot of activity happening this week, and there's still plenty of opportunity for people to call in to their elected representatives. One of the big issues with rolling back the Patriot Act and, of course, setting limits on Section 215 is that they need Section 215. They need that telephone metadata in order to master the human domain. They need that program to scoop up all of our information because that is what is helping them with their surveillance program, which we're going to talk about this coming up in the next break. They're actually using this to create a matrix-like reality, simulating a virtual reality where each and every one of us are being categorized in this virtual reality, of course, without our consent. Now, something else that's going on today, they were voting on whether or not to debate giving Obama fast-track authority for the TPP, but the Senate Democrats filibustered that today. They filibustered Obama's trade bill, and they blocked what was basically the first major free trade vote in years. Now, obviously, this is really weird when you have conservatives working to push this through while the president's own party is now on the fringe. Now, the Democrats are saying that they don't want any legislation to come unless some other bills are coming along with it, which will include customs enforcement as well as punishments for any countries who are caught trying to manipulate their currencies for trade advantages. But also, there's this other big thing in the bill. They want another bill to protect American workers who will be displaced by free trade. So do not ignore that. They absolutely know that this is going to be devastating for American workers. We've seen that before with NAFTA. We've seen what's happened. We have massive debt right now. Actually, our debt is higher than the entire economy of China, which is the world's largest economy. Our debt has trumped that. So that right there is frightening. But the fact that the Democrats are pushing for some provisions to be put in place to protect the American worker. So again, they know that this is going to be devastating for the American worker. They want to put these protections in place, which amounts to even more government welfare programs, because what are we going to do for jobs? And so that's what this is really all about. At least they're thinking about us. But this is absolutely when it is time to call your representatives up. Obviously, this is a big vote. They know a lot of people are paying attention to this. Just like so many of you went the extra mile, called your representatives, called the mainstream media and asked them why weren't they talking about Jade Helm, we need to do the same thing with this trade agreement. If you've got a Republican representative, demand that they explain just how this is going to be good for your community, good for your state. What's their plan for jobs in the future, and how is that going to affect you? We really need to get people talking about this, and we can't just take Obama on his word for it that this is a good deal. Obviously, things are a little bit shady when his entire party is against it, and this is the one time that the Republicans and he have been able to work together. So obviously, a little bit weird there. Now, stick around because Rob Dew is going to be joining me in studio. We are going to be talking about a U.S. government-developed matrix-like reality, okay, where they are using a virtual you. They are simulating a reality with a virtual you without our consent, of course. And we're going to talk about how that ties in to Jade Helm. City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered with a ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. ancientdefense.com.
Well, according to a recent Rasmussen poll, nearly half of the voters who were polled think that the feds are going to use the Jade Helm exercise to exhibit more control over states. Now, this poll is also showing that it's just a mere 21% of people believe that the exercises are an infringement on people's rights who live in those states. And 62% of people say, nah, it's completely fine. Now, obviously, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the establishment media is really playing this down, and they're really playing down the fact that this is an infringement upon people's rights.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the NBA Finals are in, and people just want to watch that, and they're not interested in what's really going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's the majority of the people don't care.
And they have no idea that they don't know.
And they don't even know what Jade Helm is. We're going to play this clip a little bit later of the colonel of head of the asymmetrical warfare unit had no idea what Jade Helm was. At least he admitted it on TV that he had no idea what it was.
Yeah, the head of asymmetric warfare. I just really have no, we don't do, well, we protect your constitutional rights. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We don't get involved in any of those training exercises. Now, 52% of these people say that they're not worried at all about these exercises. They don't believe there are any ulterior motives behind them. But I think that that's a little bit disturbing, because that's what we keep trying to let people know, is that this is not normal. And there's a reason why we have been continually attacked in the mainstream media from all angles. I mean, we even had the White House spokesperson come out and speak about this Jade Helm exercise, tell people not to believe what you hear on the internet. And we've talked about these training exercises a lot. So why are they so concerned about shutting down any kind of talk about this one?
Well, I think one thing is that once the governor got involved and said something, that broke a whole new news cycle, because originally Fox came out with their little piece right when we put ours out. And let me tell you, the life cycle of this whole Jade Helm exercise, I guess I'm kind of responsible for it, because I was sent an email that had the slides in there, and I looked at them and I printed it out and I handed it to Joe Biggs. I said, check these out. This came from a credible source. And he looked at it and he goes, hey, they're listing Texas as hostile on the map. I said, go give it to Jones immediately. And that sparked it. I mean, it went off from there, and it kind of carried on a life of its own. Now, I think there were a couple other radio shows maybe discussing it before there, but they didn't quite have the reach that we have. So I'm going to say InfoWars blew it out the airlock into the open world and really got people talking about this. And since then, we've been attacked vigorously. This latest example is from the 5, and they did a whole 4-minute segment on it. I've cut it down a bit, but I want to play this for everybody, and then we can analyze it. And then I have even a response from Alex Jones, who I don't even think saw this clip, but he kind of responded in his own way to the things they were attacking him about. So let's go to that clip.
There are all kinds of conspiracy theories floating around about an upcoming Pentagon training exercise called Operation Jade Helm 15. It's a program